What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So this video, we're gonna be doing a Q&A on mental health, talking about things across the board with trauma, with anxiety, with depression. And these are some really, really good questions. I may actually, if you guys like this video that much, make sure to hit a thumbs up because that gives me an idea what you guys like. Actually do another Q&A like this. I'm gonna let this little lady give you a background of herself. This is my really good friend Maris, and she's going to explain what she does exactly and yeah, what's her background.
Hi, yep, so I'm Maris. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing in Sacramento. I have my own private practice. I've been open for about a year. I specialize in trauma and grief and traumatic loss.
She is a expert in this area that we all need help in. And so if you guys are new to my channel, welcome. This is a little bit different of a video for my channel. My channel is more so lifestyle fitness based, but we'll be filming more videos on this stuff. So make sure that you like it and make sure that you subscribe to see us in the next one. So we'll go ahead and begin with your guys' juicy questions. So question number one is, why do panic attacks trigger down the road anxiety?
Panic attacks are traumas in themselves. So if you have a panic attack and you're fearing for your life, that's what a panic attack feels like. It's like you're gonna die or that you're in danger. Yep. And you feel completely flooded and taken over. So to have a panic attack in of itself is a traumatic experience and can cause anxiety of panic attacks down the line, and actually acutely right after it happens.
But
yeah, you have to build up stress to get to the point of having a panic attack where you just can't take it anymore, and you've been suppressing and feeling like anxious and having these stressors in life, and then it builds and finally your body is just like, I can't take this, and it like boom, releases like a firework of just fear.
How do you deal with your parents as an adult when they've put you through trauma as a kid? So the biggest thing with that, you guys, is I have the same thing, abandonment issues with my dad. Thank God I have built amazing relationships with them now, and I'll try to explain that briefly of how I've done that. My mom, she dealt with drug addiction, and I remember that vividly. At one point went to prison for a year. So there's a lot of stuff that I've faced with my parents, and the biggest thing is it's like two separate things. First of all, you need to work on yourself. You need to work on yourself. You need to work through those things because listen, resentment, it's gonna live in your body. Anger, it's gonna live in your body. So much more energy to do that. And those people sometimes can really care less how you feel. So you're damaging your own physical health because it's all connected, mental, by continuing to hang on to the past that doesn't exist anymore. You're making that your present. You're making yourself a prisoner to it. So the biggest thing is finding ways to help yourself, like getting counseling, getting therapy. That's how you start working through it. Those are people that are experts that could be like, this is what you need to do. This is why you're feeling the way you do. Here, implement this, take action towards doing it. You have to take massive action, and so working on yourself is the one biggest thing I would say. Looking inward, it could be scary, but please do it for your own sanity. And then another thing is working on forgiveness. Forgiving is the biggest thing. It was very hard for me to do. It took me years. I'm still working on it, honestly, but everyone's also going to be able to forgive in different ways.
Yes.
For me, I use my faith, my relationship with God. That's what's helped me forgive and still continue to be forgiving towards my parents. Working on yourself and finding what your way of forgiveness looks like, because let it go, you guys. Let me tell you, life's too short. Tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah.
How to build good habits to deal with mental health.
So the foundation and starting point that's really important is looking at how much sleep you're getting. You need to be getting 7 to 9 hours, and that is a foundation for everything else that you use throughout your day to promote good mental health. Obviously, nutrition, exercise, those are totally in your vein of what you do, and those things have helped you feel good and manage emotions. And the same for me. I use yoga and movement a lot to release things that are absorbed throughout the day and just in life in general.
Yeah. That was a really good answer.
Solid.
That was really good, yeah. How to find peace from a past relationship that was emotionally abusive. So I've been through it all. This is another thing that resonates with me because I have been in a relationship that was extremely verbally abusive and I didn't acknowledge it while I was in it, unfortunately, so I stayed in it for 3 years. Again, this is gonna be stuff that's kind of biased, right? Because I resonate so much with this because I've been through it and I've worked through it. So I'm just gonna say this, verbal abuse or emotional abuse is like worse than physical because you have so, depending on the severity of it, but you have so much that you have to come back from and work on and work through, right? You lose a lot of self-worth, you lose yourself in the relationship. So the biggest thing, again, this is kind of going to relate to the question of like, how do you forgive your parents? First of all, the biggest thing is forgiveness. You have to let that go. You have to forgive that person. And then also another thing that helps you pardon them and kind of like that helped me even with my relationships, with the abusive relationship I was in, was acknowledging that that person was severely broken. Mm-hmm. They were insecure, huge. They were depressed. That's the only way that you can emotionally abuse somebody, verbally abuse someone, is because that's a straight reflection of how you feel yourself. So the biggest thing with me, that's what helped me forgive him, and also my faith. Everyone's way of how they're going to be able to let that go, let that resentment go, is going to be how it looks for you, right? For me, I use my faith, my relationship with God. How to find peace with it is also working on yourself. For me, after I got out of that relationship, I was broken, right? My past with my parents, my childhood, and then getting into an abusive relationship shortly after, horrible combination. Mm-hmm. So I was like shattered, not broken, shattered. And I looked inward and I worked on myself. I did self-help books, and actually implementing them. It's different reading and not just letting it go over your head. Yeah. I attended seminars that were self-help stuff. I listened to podcasts. I got counseling. That was one of the biggest things, is because counselors, therapists, those are the people who are going to be able to help excel you in working on yourself. Yes. Literally. I've had recent trauma and I don't want to do anything. I don't have any motivation. How do I find how do I get that motivation back? Mm-hmm.
That's a really tough question to answer, because one size doesn't fit all, and it really depends on who you are and what that trauma is. But trauma can look like lack of motivation. Trauma can look like so many things. It can be irritability, disconnection, anger, hostility, sadness, depression, lack of motivation, whatever. And it can be so many things. And trauma is so often more feeling based than memory based, although you can have memories. So if you're struggling with motivation and you've had a recent trauma, then it's really important to get the support that you need and to help your body release that trauma, whether that's through therapy with a licensed professional, or some other kind of practice that you found works for you, maybe acupuncture. Exercise is really huge to help move that out, but it's really hard to get up and go exercise if you are lacking motivation. Mm-hmm. So I might be a little bit biased being a therapist, but I feel like going to see a therapist and somebody who specializes in trauma can help you move forward through this. And it's totally okay to ask for help, and therapy can help, and finding the right therapist is a really huge thing to feel safe with. Because
is mental health impacted by nutrition? So 100%. How you eat, and this is me even coming from a fitness coach standpoint, what you eat is literally how you're going to feel. And here's kind of the scientific breakdown of what I know. I'm not an expert in this area, but this is my own research that I've done. So your gut, you guys, what you eat, it's connected somehow with your nervous system. Your gut and your nervous system.
It's where a neurotransmitter, serotonin, and neurotransmitters control mood. So we have dopamine, serotonin as kind of the big ones that are out there. Serotonin in a lack of it causes anxiety and depression. That's how a lot of medications work. So what you eat and put in your gut promotes the production of serotonin and a sense of well-being. So if you don't eat the right things, then your gut isn't happy. And if your gut isn't happy, your brain isn't happy, and then you're not happy. It's all a system that is cohesive and goes together. So
all connected.
If you eat well, you eat produce, you eat fresh food, and you fuel your body, then your body will reward you with well-being.
Yeah. So long story short, yes, it completely impacts how you feel. All right. So this one's you. Let's see. How does social media impact someone's mental health?
Well, the first thing that we know is time spent on social media. If it exceeds a certain number of hours, and I think it might be 1 or 2 hours a day, then there's an associated relationship with increased depression and anxiety because of the comparison and the lack of actual interaction with real people. So you can feel like you're interacting through social media, but less than 4% of us are actually having messaging or commenting, and we're kind of just scrolling. So the more scrolling and the less interaction, the more depressed and anxious that people can be. And you're looking at a person's highlight reel, like you're not seeing really what people's lives are like. And so you're comparing yourself to them, and comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah. So social media can be good if you're actually connecting and for a certain amount of time per day, but keeping it to that, and also making more time for real in-person relationships and putting your phones away when you're with people and really connecting, because we are meant to be connected.
It's a non-negotiable, and I learned that because I work from home and I do the whole social media thing. And just to like end on that note with everything that she just said, it's like you have to treat, I listened to a digital detox podcast before, and they're like, how do you manage it when you literally run a business on it, right? So they're like, you treat it like you would treat anything else professionally. You go on there when you're gonna post. You go on there when it's intentional. You're gonna comment back, you're gonna DM back. You don't go on there just to scroll, because subconsciously it does impact you and you do compare yourself, right? So yeah, it's a big thing to be mindful of for sure. Tips on how to help your significant other through depression, or probably if somebody deals with anxiety or even past trauma.
Mental health concern.
Yeah. This is something we kind of touched on before I'm answering it, is that you cannot help somebody truly unless they want to take that first step and help themselves. This is something we kind of touched on before I'm answering it, is that you cannot help somebody truly unless they want to take that first step and help themselves. You can't force someone to go see a therapist, counselor. You can't, drag them by their hair and try to make them go do something, because they have to want to put those 2 steps forward, and then you can support that, right? If you have somebody who they just literally don't want to do anything for themselves, they don't want to, they don't want to go see a doctor to even assess what's going on, they don't want to talk to anybody, you are going to run yourself thin. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to deal with a lot of stress, and that's going to be impactful on you. You're going to become resentful. And yeah, you can't help somebody unless they want to take the first step of helping themselves. If you want to say anything to close that out, or
yeah, I think just you're talking about the internal motivation, and so internal motivation is what promotes lasting change. So you could have somebody, like if your partner was depressed and you said you need to go fix this or I'm leaving you, they might be then motivated to go work on it to maintain the relationship, but it's not truly for themselves.
Yeah.
And in the long run, 6 months down the line, they go back to the old habits and the old ways. And
that's going to wrap up that mental health focused Q&A. I hope that you guys learned from it. I hope that, once again, it brought you some kind of peace. It, taught you something, helped you in some kind of way, gave you some kind of direction.
Yeah.
Because everyone's stuff, and we could sit here and shoot the shizzle all day, but it's like preference, so everyone's healing, routes and paths is going to be different of what they choose to do. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit that thumbs up. I'm going to put all this lovely lady's info in the description box. You guys know the description box is
the accent.
Always. I don't know what came from. You guys know that you can find a lot up in the description box. Links are always linked down below. She's based in Sacramento, California. I think she's amazing. So make sure to give her a follow. Her gram will be in there as well. And yes, guys, we love you so much. We want the best for you. I love you guys, and we will see you in the next one.